What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of D3 Yappers.
We might be D3 runners, but we're D1 yappers at heart.
Everyone, prayers to homeboy here, Noah.
We did a lot of yelling yesterday, a lot of encouragement in the weight room and encouragement at work. So woke up with no voice this morning.
But we
So
killed the tempo and the lift.
yeah, got the long run in today and hung out with your boy Eric Reynolds. So we're having a good weekend. But we have a special episode for you. I think I kind of maybe talked a little briefly about how we're going to do episodes and then also these interviews. And so we have an interview today with
Chase Swegger. Chase Swegger, we learned is how you say it, of Center College Cross Country and Track. He does a lot of media work for them, photo, video stuff in the running world. Thank goodness Noah's voice was up to par during the episode. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of D3 Yappers. We've got a very special guest on the pod today. And first off, we need to ask him. So your first name, Chase, last name, is it Swigger or Swagger?
It's actually neither. It's Swagger.
Oh my
Swagger.
gosh.
I like it.
That's awesome. Well, tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you're about.
My name's Chase Swagger. I'm a junior here at Center, and I'm on the track and cross country team. I do a lot of photo video stuff here, and kind of my background with photo video. One of the things I really want to talk about is like that's where I found a lot of my passion is in photo and video. And I've done a lot of work with pro running, but also a lot of work not with pro running. And on the side of not pro running, that's really where I fell in love with photo video, was with portraits and videography of other people. Um, and I actually ended up working with the governor's office for Kentucky, and I think that internship my senior year of high school is like really where I realized that this could be something I only not only have a passion for, but also can make a living out of.
Love to hear it. Well, we'll definitely be digging deeper into that. But first off, just to get a better idea of who you are, we got some fun rapid fire questions on deck for you if you'd like to take away with that.
First one on deck, and it's pretty serious. I'm just kidding. It's do you have a childhood nickname or any current nicknames?
So in elementary school, my principal cannot say my last name, so he would call me Chase Swagger, and he would spell it out with the two G's, Swagger. Um, and then now it may not be quite the same like status of Swagger, but my girlfriend calls me Chastopher, and that's been a 2 year long nickname now.
Nice. We were before this episode, we were like, how do we actually say his last name? And we were like coming up with all these pronunciations.
I was like, we'll have him do it.
The actual, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like none that we were going to the Austin Powers. I'm a swigger, baby.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I've heard every pronunciation of it. So I mean, I've heard anything from Swager to Swagger to Swager, like anything in between. I've
Patrick
heard it all.
Swayze. No,
No, I've
nobody knows who that
I've
is.
experienced some butchering of my last name too. And I think when I first qualified in nationals back in 2022, they were like Noah Tibbin.
No
It's
time, Tobin.
It's Tobin. Like it's
Yeah.
you can call me Toe. Like I don't care. Like at least get the O right. But I get that. You go.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, from center, we were obviously yapping it up with you a bit at the Wittenberg meet, which is why we thought it'd be a fun idea to do this whole shebang. You were telling us that we should come down for a visit because coffee. That's the key
Yes.
to our hearts. So told us there's some good coffee shops there. What's your go-to shop and your go-to order?
So there's two real main places, literally a block and a half down the street from campus, right in downtown, and it's pretty polarizing. You've got the dry stack community and you've got the hub community, and no one can ever come to this middle ground. But I think I have a peace offering for the two sides. If you
Intrigued.
want a good lunch or breakfast meal and then have a coffee or a drink to go with it, you're going to go to the hub. If you want a really good coffee and you're really like either coffee snob or a connoisseur, however you profile yourself, you're going to go to Dry Stack and grab yourself a nice mocha, a nice latte, or even just a straight black coffee, and they'll do it right for you on the coffee side. And they do have great pastries, but if you want a meal, you're going to go to the Hub.
Coffee's just good at everything.
This is true.
We're spoiled. Are you in a dorm
Yeah.
right now?
No, I actually live in a house, so I have my own room in a house. We've got a five-person house. Me and my freshman year roommate, his name's Baxter. Shout out Baxter.
We love
We're
that.
both on the team, and then our three other roommates are in the same fraternity as us.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I was gonna say
Yeah,
the dorm is a great reason to go get coffee if you don't have your own kitchen. Like you can just go
that
buy
too.
coffee every day. But yeah.
Yeah, actually, one of our roommates got a French press for Christmas, so
Oh,
me and him have been using that thing up.
that's actually sick. I love it.
Yeah.
I got another one for you. So we debate on socks all the time. I'm more of a no-show sock kind of guy. She's a crew sock girly. So what you think? Where do you fall on that? Is there like you race or do workouts and no-shows or crews, or you do like what's your how do you do it?
So I
Sock.
haven't really had the opportunity to race in socks or no socks, really race at all in college. But in high school, I was known to wear cotton Adidas crew socks with my spikes. So that might be a hot take there. Uh, but I mean, I ran all season long, and then state champs came around. And I switched it up. I went barefoot in my spikes, and then I had an 8 second PR.
For a
So
hot minute, I thought you were just gonna say barefoot flat out, and I was like, oh.
no, barefoot in the spikes, no socks.
I always say, once you go no sock, you don't go back, man. You can't after you get the feel of the rawness of the spike, you never want to go back to sock coverage. That's all I gotta
Yeah.
say about that.
So I've got another proposal here.
Oh god.
Um, if you're gonna race anything steeplechase and under, it's acceptable to be barefoot. And then 5K to 10K or cross, it's your preference, but I'm gonna say socks are the way to go
You know,
because you don't want to get blisters.
you know what's crazy about that? So,
What's
so
crazy?
obviously I run steeplechase. That's not obvious, but point I'm gonna make is obvious. So I race
Obviously,
steeplechase
I run steeplechase.
and
I'm sorry, 5'5".
wow, I'm 5'6.5", but okay. The half is important. That's how you know I'm short because I value the half. But but so I stopped wearing socks with my spikes because of the steeplechase because everybody hates wet socks and also it's a speedier race. You want more grip and traction and feel like you're more set in stone in the spike. And then from there, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do it for all races. But here's the thing:
Mm,
I have never raced a 10K though like that. I do agree with you on that, but I did race cross country the whole season, no socks, which
okay.
8Ks. So I'm a big fan of socks for the 10K. I guess 8K is when I like after 8K is when I draw the line.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your feet do get blistered pretty bad, I will say.
I think I raced a 5K time trial with no socks and I got pretty gnarly blisters from that. And after that, I was socks all the way.
Big crew sock girly. They make my legs look long and they show personality. And I worked in a specialty running store for a really long time and sold a lot of really nice socks. And today I ran my 12-mile long run in a pair of cotton socks that said just peachy on them.
Oh my God,
Nice.
you're crazy.
Yeah, I ran my long run yesterday in cotton crew socks. Yeah.
Hey.
For me, that's the way to go on the daily basis, but for racing, we switch it up every now and then.
Yeah.
No, I feel that.
All right, this next one, I'm actually intrigued. Of course, I want to hear about this as like a runner from your running perspective, but also from the photography media side of things, indoor or outdoor track.
Ooh. Um, nothing really beats like the energy of a nighttime meet. We host a meet called Center Twilight. It's an outdoor meet. Nothing really beats the energy of our 4x4 at like 1 in the morning during that meet.
Okay.
Nothing
Oh my
really
God.
nothing beats that. So I'm gonna have to say outdoor. But as far as filming goes, I mean, oh, it really depends on the day. I want to say indoor, but also I've filmed a lot of indoor right now, and it's been really electric. The lighting in Wittenberg and our indoor track here has been absolutely insane. and you just don't quite get that same sort of energy outdoors, I think, for photography and video.
Well, it just echoes too, like environment wise, like you don't even have to pack that many people out there to feel like it's like a stadium.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Yeah.
it's sick. I mean, I love outdoor. It's my baby. It's where I
10K.
started, you know.
As
But
people.
yeah, but indoors will have a special place in my
for
heart.
sure.
Go.
All right. Can I ask this one?
Oh yeah, this is you.
All right.
For the
I
fans.
I debate this one all the time because sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to race in them, and sometimes I don't. Half tights, or this could be regular runs too. Half tights or short shorts?
I'm gonna have to say half tights all the way. There's no draw on the line here. Half tights.
That's so valid because like I'm not gonna lie, I really like my short shorts for the tan lines, but
Yeah.
man, you can't chafe if you have the half tights on. Like there's no
Yes.
like and that's my big thing. But
100%. Yeah. I mean, you'll catch me out there in 5-inch shorts, but very rarely will you catch me in split shorts. And if you do, I mean, body glide's a must.
yes, yes, we have.
I always keep Body Glide in my bag, but I never use it for running. Believe it or not, I use it with my
Mm.
swim.
What do you mean by that?
I was about to get way off track and tell another story, but that's for a different day. Um, Believe it or not, I actually use it when my swim volume is really high. Because
Mm,
like my swimsuit straps here, if I'm doing like
Yeah.
6K like twice a week in the same suit, that's why you got to switch up suits or else it chafes. But I use it with
Huh.
my swimsuits and with my
Never thought about that.
wetsuit around the neck, gotta have
I
it,
don't swim, so I
or else
wouldn't
you would
know.
perish.
Do
Uh,
you swim in speed suits? How often do you swim in a speed suit?
Oh, like a
like a fast skin, like a hydrophobic, like a racing.
Yeah, 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 like a tech suit.
I haven't used a tech suit. Okay, actually, it's funny because I did a time trial in one last year with our swim team here on campus. So that was like once in like 5 years. I haven't
Okay.
actually raced a pure swim meet since like high school.
Yeah, I swam 1 year in high school, and that was like the season that I got really good at running was sophomore year.
I swear it gives you a third lung, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
dang. All
Well,
right.
let's go back in time to then. We want to hear how you got into running. What's your like first earliest memory running?
Yeah, as far as running goes, I've been running probably since fourth or fifth grade.
Oh, dude, yes.
Not willingly. I'll say that. I basically until junior year of high school, my dream was to play soccer either in college or like on a club team of some sort. I I was on a really good soccer team. My high school won state several years in a row, regional champions like for forever. We had a great coach. I mean, we had I think the year I quit, we had 12 seniors, 9 seniors, something like that, and they were all going to play in college or could have played in college if they didn't. And I was on little league teams, all the things. But then my dad, he named me Chase for a reason. He was into running. He ran in high school. He ran a little bit when he was at Virginia Tech. He wanted me to be a runner, so I had to do cross country when I really didn't want to. And I remember every single Wednesday we had these meets at the archives, probably the hilliest course in the state of Kentucky. I mean, for a mile race, which is what we raced in middle school, it was at least like 150 feet a gain.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
As
So those are the earliest memories I have is
as
like,
a child of the sport, crazy. But yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think my earliest memory is like running probably in fifth or sixth grade, and a deer ran across the course because I was kind of like in the back of the pack. I wasn't that good. And I decided to walk after I got jump scared by a deer. I walked it in, and my dad was yelling at me, like, "Why were you walking? You should have been running."
Oh my gosh. Noah almost got taken out by a deer this year at our home meet, but we didn't know
I
it
didn't know it
until we
until
watched the video after the race and it crossed right
Oh,
behind
dang.
him and it was like a bullet. It was
it
so
was
bad.
scary.
It
Like
was
going back,
Yeah.
like looking at like it was like looking at watching a scary movie and watching something behind like
Yes.
there was only so much like room for error for second place behind me. Like
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't get hit because I
yeah.
came through and then it was like bam and then he came through.
And it was
It
Oh my
like
was
gosh.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mess with deer, even though there's a lot of
Yeah.
moments in Ohio.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty around here too. Our coach claims that there's a bear on our cross country course, but it's in the middle of downtown Danville. I've never seen it, but she claims that there's a bear here. So I don't mess with that.
I'll believe her. I'll believe her.
So I'm curious then, you hated running from the beginning or did not enjoy it. But
Yeah.
obviously you're at Center College doing track and cross country now. When did that switch flip and you kind of realized you wanted to pursue this more?
I think the biggest thing is that I've always just been a pretty competitive person, no matter what I'm doing. And being on the soccer team, one, I was with so many great people, so that made me want to be good, but I was never the best, and I never really had a chance to really, you know, improve. I was always just kind of one of the guys who was just on the team. I might have been like a decent soccer player, but I would never really get much playing time. Um, and cross country was a chance for me to like always have playing time, always have a chance to prove myself. Um, and it's like I feel like I'm making it sound super deep and serious, but it really just was because I was a competitive person, and it was like the most pure form of competition. It's like whoever just wants it the most runs the fastest, and that was I don't know if there's really a switch that flipped in me um, to like enjoy it, but I think just having an outlet where I could be so competitive, uh, definitely like around seventh grade, eighth grade. That's whenever I really started to enjoy the competition side of cross country.
No, we always talk about how we're so like even though like everybody's story is different, like she's just crazy and just loved it, loved it, loved it. Like obviously there was days like when I was younger, I vibe with your story on like a more level than you would even imagine because for the longest time until like freshman year of high school, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. I was a
Yeah.
midfielder. I loved running down the field, back like I loved playing defense
Yep.
and passing the ball, hated shooting. So like I understand the aspect of being a part of a team and like loving that. But I got into high school, my mom was like, try this, and my sister did it. And my sister ended up running collegiately at Manchester, which
Hmm.
is interesting because we
Yeah.
raced a lot. But so it just kind of sparked with me when the high school coach was like, hey, like you're the best guy on the team, seventh, eighth grade. Like, I need you more than the soccer team does. And he
Yeah.
actually had that conversation with me. And I was like, potential wise, like, you know, yeah, people can be like, you just need a ball to play soccer, but running, you don't need anything really. Okay, obviously you need,
Right.
but but like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Why?
you got
Yeah.
your watch, you don't really need a watch to run. Like
Right.
it's all about what you want to track and the metrics and data you want to get. But like you said, there's no playing, like the playing time is every week. You get an opportunity to prove yourself every week, and that's why it's one of the most purest of all sports.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree. And now that I'm kind of reflecting on it a little bit more, I was debating if I was going to share the story or not, but I feel like it's pretty important to my running journey. The whole reason why I started enjoying running, I'd say, is because my seventh grade crush asked me to run with her every day over summer, going into eighth grade.
That was how
So,
her dad was getting into running. Like, that's why we're laughing.
yeah,
I did everything for the
He
girls.
was
Like,
motivated for every like and like
yeah.
honestly, I can kind of understand that. Like, if there was a cute girl on the team, like obviously, you wanted to prove like not to be weird, but you get to take your shirt off at practice every day and we sweating and we're being in each other's space. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you
No,
want to prove that you're one of the dominant guys on the team and show off. Like that's
yeah,
all.
no, 100%. And like that happened to me. And I think it was basically every other day we ran like 2 or 3 miles at whatever pace she wanted. I didn't know what I was doing. She knew what she was doing. And funny thing is, she didn't run like at all in high school, but in middle school, she was like pretty dang good. And she was like coaching me through it, like, okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. And then that first meet of the year, second week of school, that Wednesday meet, hilly course, I went from getting probably like bottom third of the pack, maybe middle of the pack. I got second place in our first race back.
hey, look at that.
So I
Oh,
went up to her afterwards
Yeah,
and I
the
was like,
ski
"Thanks for the
goggles.
motivation."
oh, there you go.
Yes.
So ultimately, then, when did you leave soccer and what led to that?
Yeah, so I left soccer after sophomore summer, basically. So our team is, like I said, it's a pretty competitive team, pretty high status soccer team, or at least it used to be. And we would have like not mandatory, but if you wanted to be like one of the guys, basically mandatory kick arounds 2 3 times a week during the off season. We would have scrimmages, just drills, just kicking the ball around for 2 hours a day, and then conditioning would start a few weeks before school. And I think like probably a week or two before school started, um, after conditioning was kind of winding down, that's when I decided to take a step back.
So you leave soccer, you get into running. Center, how did that come into play?
Yeah, I really didn't think about running in college until the end of my junior year. My PRs were not that great. I my PR junior year was a 440 in the mile. I ran like a 17:35K. I never ran the 2 mile. I think my 800 was like a 211. Didn't really do anything special, but I was the best on the team, a very small team. Uh, and I was just like not really thinking of college. And then towards the end of cross country, I had like a 20-second PR. It wasn't anything huge. It was like 17:12. And center coach reaches out to me and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then a few other coaches start reaching out to me. University of Cumberland's, we got Transy, we got a bunch of schools in Kentucky, Hanover in Indiana, a few regional schools. And I was like, oh, like this whole running college thing, like I think I could do that. And then I kind of pushed center to the side because I knew it was like super academic and super academically challenging. And I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for that. I have a good GPA now, but I just don't know if I can handle that load, uh, especially with running. And then indoor track comes around, and I didn't really like any other schools I'd gone on visits for. So I circled back around to our coach, and he kind of thought that he had lost me, is what he told me. He's like, "Oh, I thought that we weren't going to get you. It'd been like 2 months since we really talked." And then I went on another visit. It wasn't an overnight. I literally did a 6 mile run with the guys, had a meeting with coach, and that was it. But then after talking to coach for like an hour, I was like, this is the place for me. And the guys, like, they all talked to me. Like, it's pretty good vibes. Some of the seniors weren't too happy that we had about 30 recruits come through uh, before actually committing. But other than that, like the whole team and being on campus too. Like, it's, I don't know if y'all have been here, but it's a gorgeous campus.
It is really
Um,
nice. I've been there.
so
I'm not.
so yeah. So I think just right place, right time. Not really thinking I was going to run in college to really wanting to run in college to not knowing where I'm going to go, and then really feeling at home here. It was kind of the progression.
I think also what you said, like doing a 6 mile run with the guys, when you run with people, you know the
Yeah,
vibes. We always talk about how like fatigue just like magnifies every emotion. You see like the
yeah,
best and worst of everybody. I am
yeah.
curious. Oh, I need to circle back to just put things together in my mind. You said you swam in high school. Was that when you were injured or how did that come about?
So I actually hadn't been injured ever until right when we got on campus. I never ran over 30 miles a week in high school, maybe 35. So I wasn't really prone to injury, and then basically doubled my mileage coming into college, and my body wasn't cut out for it. And still kind of going through the phases of being confident with running. I mean, I think I'd had 3 consecutive seasons of running. COVID threw that off. I didn't really run it all sophomore year. That's when I swam, was sophomore year, because we didn't have a track team. Uh, and then I really got serious about running junior year.
It's funny that you like talk about not having great PRs, and yet your mile PRs from high school is 13 seconds faster than mine in high school. So like I'm just saying, like we all start somewhere, and like
Yeah.
we're still like you said, are you a junior at center now?
Yeah, I'm a junior.
So like I mean you still got time. I mean, you have all next year, and I don't know where you're at with your training, but I was talking to your boy Henry when we were jogging with him, and I didn't realize he was a freshman. I was like, dude, you guys got like time. Like it didn't
Yeah.
click for me like really a whole lot until my junior year. Like
Yeah.
and when it clicked, and like you just gotta get that the strength training is important, and just
Yeah.
doing the right things. And I was talking to Simon Hayes' dad today because I work for him. Um, about like recovery is a part of is just as much a part of training as training itself. So it's like,
100%.
you know,
100%.
just working that and doing all the right things. And
Yeah.
so I'm excited to see if you can put together some weeks of healthy training, what you can do, like from a
Yeah.
mental
Yeah.
too.
I actually have, so I keep a log of all of my running. I've had this style notebook since my sophomore year of high school, since I really got serious about running. My mom is really big into journaling. She's not an athlete or anything, but she's like super into that. And she said, do a training log because it gives you structure. You know, you have something to talk about every single day. And if you talk about something that's not running, you talk about something that's not running. But at the end of the day, you can journal about running. And I've kept a log of basically 7 years now of training,
Wow.
6 years now of training.
That's
And
awesome.
it's crazy to like look back at it. And I was looking back at my Strava and my training log the other day, and this is my second longest consecutive training period, training block
Oh my gosh,
since I got
congrats.
to
Yeah, no,
college.
dude, that's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, not spring, sorry, sophomore summer was the longest training block I had before getting injured in the fall, and then now I've put to probably close to 10 weeks of training together.
What have you built so far? Like, what's your weekly looking like?
Yeah, so as far as running mileage, I'm doing about 30 to 40. Last week was 37, or sorry, 34. This week it's going to be about 37, kind of sitting in that range for indoor, and then adding about an hour and a half to 2 hours of cross training in there. So close to 50-ish miles of volume if translated all to running.
Cool.
So not quite like high volume, but consistency. I mean, like I said, it's the second longest training block I've had. I haven't really had a chance to
Right.
build anything crazy volume wise, and just being consistent for this long, like I feel like a runner again. I feel like an athlete again.
Yes.
That
No,
that
that's
feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
yes, that's 100%. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. And you're more of a mid-distance guy, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm really hoping to focus on that 1500
Nice.
here in the spring.
Yeah.
I'd love to run a fast mile indoors, but really just base training right now.
I love you showing that log too. I was like that. I started that my sophomore year of high school. I would just get old planners each year and use the planner and like each day instead of filling out like the plan, I would fill out what I did
Yeah,
wise for the day. And it's actually something I did up until this past cross country season. And I felt like life and training was getting so busy and doing like triathlon training stuff. I'm like, oh, like where do I write it all in here? And it actually it's funny. I've always been somebody who has found relaxation in journaling, but I started to get very like obsessive with it to a point where it like,
Stress you out.
yeah, it wasn't helping and I would get behind on days and then feel like I needed to go back and write it. And I realized I was like, I have all this on the software I use online for training and coaching stuff, Training Peaks, where I go in and I put comments about every session that I do. And I'm definitely more in depth there than I am Strava, but no, it's definitely fun. I still look back on them and it's funny because I'll wrote like ran with so and so or talked about this and it's about so much more than the running. It's like the memories too. But
yeah,
um talking about like your injuries and stuff, obviously, you said I'd love to hear a bit more about this injury and how it opened up this media opportunity. Also, just wow, I'm asking like the triple whammy question. How did you know that media was your passion? Tell us
yeah.
all of
Okay,
this.
I'll answer that question first. I've been making videos since again sophomore year of high school. I bought my first camera sophomore year.
Okay.
I
Time.
actually, so the first time I ever picked up a camera, my dad had bought a Canon Rebel camera, which is like not a super expensive camera, but it's a nice DSLR mirrored camera. It just had a
Exactly what I
kit
have.
lens. And yeah, so I took that out to a parking garage one night, sunset in downtown Frankfurt, which is where I'm from. And me and my dad put it up on a tripod, and I went and sat on this ledge, and like you could see the city, like not the city, but the town skyline and the mountains behind us, and like just took like these silhouette sunset photos. And that was basically the moment that I fell in love with it. I was like, this is so cool. I looked up videos on how to edit. Like Peter McKinnon was the first person that showed up who's like huge in photo video, and like he's like this huge influencer for that side of the internet, and just like binged his videos for hours and hours. And that slowly progressed into I started by making soccer highlight videos because like I was close with the team and the games were always really exciting. Student section was crazy, you know, always had the hype there. And that's kind of when I started making videos was sophomore year. And then it's just progressed and progressed and progressed. I've made more connections, gotten better at the craft, you know, just like running, you put in the hours, you put in the practice and you get better with it.
Are you majoring in something media related?
So I was actually talking to Simon about this. We don't have a communications or media program. We have a fine arts and photography program, but I actually am planning on going to PT school after
Oh,
this.
wow.
So I'm a business major with a pre-physical therapy track. So I'm taking a lot of undergrad courses like my biologies, my psychologies, my chemistries, getting all those credits knocked out, but also getting my business major to go on and apply to DPT school.
He's crazy. Crazy in a good way. No, that's impressive. I mean, I'm
Thank
sitting
you.
here and she's sitting here as I'm a sport management and coaching minor. I got my bachelor's in sport management and then my minor in coaching, and then I'm in grad school right now at Wilmington with the Masters of Organizational Leadership program. And then you're a communications major with an art minor.
I'm a commie gal.
So
But yeah, we don't have
Yeah.
like a big art program here, which is weird being a liberal arts school, but um I've always been intrigued by the media end of things, more so the writing end than the photography end, or like if I do fine arts, it's definitely more like pencil stuff, the techiness
Yeah.
of the camera. I'm like, ooh, I feel like there's a barrier between me and like the beauty I see, which I have such respect for people like you guys who are just able to capture moments. Like some of the videos you've put together, and I'll definitely link it in like the program like description or the podcast description. Like what you put together of our regional was so cool. It just captured the vibe so perfectly. Like,
it's just it's art. That's what it is. And like we talk about how we look up to a runner. I don't know. I hope you know who he is, but maybe you don't. But you know who Steve Prefontaine is?
Oh, 100%. I have a poster from right here in my
Oh,
room.
my
oh,
gosh.
get out of the way. You blocking
Yeah.
the
There he is.
Here,
man. For those
let's see
only
if I can
listening to
show
the
you.
pod, you have to watch the
Oh, let's
video
see it.
version.
Oh, there it is right there.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
But
The
like,
goat.
he has all these mantras and these sayings, and like one of them's like a race is a work of art. And like he just wanted to
Yeah.
paint the track with his racing and like with his mantra of going out, fast and like, a pure guts race, wants to test the limits of the human heart. And it's like you capture that though. Like people in that early day captured that. And like I think it's so cool. Like the only people that would get to see that are the people who show up on a given day. And as
Yeah.
small D3 schools, not a lot of people get that attraction, but your videos are getting like a couple of your big ones are like 16,000 views, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Great Lakes one is like 10.5. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, and it's funny because I think you even reposted your Great Lakes one. You're like, this is blown up way more than I thought it would. I'm like, dude, it's
Yeah.
good. It's so good. And like you capture so many moments, like her taking the lead, or like me in no man's land, and also with the big group of guys. And like you capture is it Braden Kerr? How do you say his last name? I can't even remember how to say his last name, and that's terrible because
The winner.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Wabash. He's a great runner.
Yeah.
But like that's a pivotal moment in his career. Like I from what I know, he's gone through a lot of injury, and like alluding to like how you probably feel with injury, and like he's come out of it and like emerged this season. And it's
Yeah.
like all those storylines coming together and you just captured all. I loved it. Like it was great.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why I couldn't help but to like comment every post and like DM you, and I'm like, I gotta meet this guy. Like this is awesome. He's gotta
That's
know
awesome.
gift.
Yeah. So that's like, okay. You all saying that is the exact reaction, like in the emotions that I want you to feel. Um, so this is something, one of the guys on the team, his name's Luke. He is a like absolutely insane photographer. He's been a lot more healthy than I have, so he hasn't been able to show off those skills, at least on the cross country side. But I talk to him all the time. Like I love making videos. I love people seeing the videos, but at the end of the day, like it is art, and like I have an emotion that I feel on race day, even if I'm not racing, and I try and portray that through a video. And same thing applies to other sports. Like I know what it feels like to be on a game day, or like what it feels like to be, locked in a workout. Like those are the emotions that I want to recreate in a video form. And the fact that you all felt that through a video, that says a lot. I mean, that means that what I'm doing is working, and like it's exactly how I wanted it to come off.
It just captures and like holds like the memory and the moment and the exact vibe and emotion that we were feeling and associating that with that race. And so it's so cool to be able to go and watch like a 30-40 second video like that and feel all that again, even though we're not there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you talk about like this injury. How much do you feel like that affected your journey getting into this media piece?
I think it has made me take a step back from running in the sense that senior year, especially in the spring when I was really gung ho on like I want to run in college, it made me realize that I did pick my school heavily based on where I wanted to run, and I had to find a new reason to enjoy the school, a new reason to wake up every day and show up to practice even if I'm not running, whether that was filming or cross training, whatnot. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It didn't necessarily, I wouldn't say progress my media career as much, but it definitely gave me a new appreciation for the school, outside of running for sure.
So it definitely takes a lot of time to be a student athlete and then do what you do with photography, video, content creation, editing, all that jazz. Walk us through a typical day in your life.
Yeah. Um, you know, I'm not the most organized person when it comes to structuring my day. I'll say that much. Uh, but I try and stay to a similar structure, especially whenever practice isn't happening. So I'm gonna say on average, I wake up 7:30, 8 a.m., depending on if I have lift or if we have a double in the morning, something like that. We'll say 7:30. I start my day. Uh, Either go lift or go get breakfast straight away, and then get ready for the day. Probably go to class, and then after class grab some lunch. Then instead of doing homework, I normally decide to do some editing, or I'll have a client call for a photo or video gig. Procrastinate a little bit on the homework, but get work done.
About
And
that.
then yeah, and then 4 o'clock runs around. We got practice until about 6, and then we go get dinner. And then after that, probably do some more editing, some more photo video work, and then finally cram in some homework whenever it's time to wind down and get some stuff done. And then of course I'll go to office hours, this and that, if I'm struggling or need to go see them about a project, whatnot. But definitely a lot of time for editing, definitely a lot of time for running, plenty of time for class. Just homework always is the last thing to do before going to bed usually.
So I have a question then. So then I'm kind of curious, is your media and your own media, is that do you make money off of that? Is that your
Mm.
work? Or are you just grinding out, just taking out the loans and banking on just, really honing in your craft?
I make a lot of my money with photo video. I have two sort of main sources of income with it. I have my own business. Um, Not really business as much as it is a side hustle. I definitely say I'm a student athlete first. Classes are always going to come first, even if I am going to be editing over homework. I'm still going to prioritize my grades. If I have an assignment that needs to get done, I'm going to do that before editing a video. But whenever I can fit it in, I'm always going to fit in a wedding video, a photo shoot, grad photos, whatnot. And then basically everything else I make is for fun or for the school. I work for the SID office, which is Sports Information
Oh
Department,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and get paid as a student worker through them. Do a lot of work with them just because I'm in athletics. I understand it. It's easy to film and photo all that.
No, that's
Kind of going off of that, like background on the Yappers here. It started off as just like a school project, and we always joked it'd be fun to have a podcast. I've always been very enamored with social media and like loved writing, loved interviewing people. I was in a journalism specific major before coming to Wilmington, where now it's more general. But always loved this type of thing. And now basically D3 Yappers it's become like an opportunity to become like my big capstone project for senior year here. So I'm like, oh my gosh, now I get to do this for school. So I can do it all the time and be like, this is school, this is great. And
Yeah,
it doesn't even feel like homework to me. And I can just be doing like stupid stuff on InDesign or whatever, or like
but it's
yeah,
got me fun.
yeah, it's a lot of fun and it's definitely something that I'm like, I want to pursue this and use it as a capstone that becomes successful that I can use as like an independent journalism outlet that we can continue getting people's stories on like after college. So I guess I'm asking you as somebody who's monetized yourself, what are your words of wisdom in the realm?
I think the biggest thing that has worked well for me is don't say yes to every project
Mhm.
possible. Especially early on, I think I learned that pretty well. I had a lot of people, a lot of my parents' friends, a lot of my friends that would come to me, say, "Oh, I have this photo video project you might be interested in," but it has absolutely nothing to do with my skill set. And I don't always say, "Oh, I just want to figure it out." Or if I do say, "Yeah, I'll figure it out," I do it for free. I learn the craft before trying to monetize myself. Because at the end of the day, it is my passion, and I think as long as it stays your passion, you prioritize that over making the money. That'll never change. And I have been, thus far blessed with the fact that I don't have to worry about a stable income and paying for rent or groceries all the time. Uh, but I don't see that changing in the future either, because I mean I have grown this to a sustainable business this far, and I only see it growing from here. I this is my passion, and PT is like the end goal. But for now, I'm gonna take this while I have it, and I have all the connections in the world right now. I'd say that's my biggest piece of advice as well, is just make as many connections as possible. The more connections you have, the more favors you can ask, and the more you can repay back by providing your skills and your time. And at the end of the day, that'll also benefit you because you can learn and grow.
Mhm.
That's good.
Yeah, really good. So touching off of that then, post collegiately, running, life, spirituality, everything. What are your goals and aspirations?
Yeah, that's I don't have a full answer because I don't know if I know the answer for myself yet. Spiritually, I'll speak a little bit on that. Uh, I definitely want to spend a lot more time with my faith. That's something that I care a lot about. I don't always give the most time to, but I give a lot of thought to it. I'm not always at church every Sunday or every Wednesday, but I'm always, thinking about a Bible verse or thinking about, saying a short little prayer. So I want to give some more like dedicated time just for my faith, uh, especially after college, whenever, I'm not worried about going to some team meeting for a group project or something every Saturday, Sunday, something like that. And then back on track of maybe career wise. Like I said, I'd love to go to PT school, but I'm definitely going to take a gap year, get some extra credits. I'd love to move out west, maybe do an internship with Tin Man Elite
Oh
or
yeah,
Oh, that's
Bowerman.
sick.
dude. Yeah,
So
you
I,
can.
I've had those I've had those opportunities in the past. I actually made it to the final round of interviews with Tin Man and Bowerman last
Oh
year.
my gosh.
Um, and I decided, well, I didn't decide, but I ultimately ended up back home doing an internship with state government. So I would like to take that gap year, get those extra credits, but also, really progress in the media side of things, especially within running, because that is what I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
No, I love it. I think that's good. Like, you said it best. That's one of those things you get that, and then all the connections just start flowing in because
Yeah.
those are famous people that you're recording and making great video content, and then everybody's like, "Who's making these videos?"
Yeah.
Boom.
Do you know who Talbot Cox is by any chance?
I've heard that name.
He makes a lot of videos on YouTube in like the triathlon and like big like endurance sports world, but he gets
Okay.
hired
Yes.
by like a lot of people. Like Gwen Jorgensen had him like he'll basically go shoot like all her videos and edit them and she'll be like in them. And he's done a lot for like Lionel Sanders and all these big triathletes, but he'll basically just go travel out west and shoot videos for different athletes and edit them up for like their channels. And I don't know,
Yeah.
made me think of you and like your goals and aspirations.
No, I've definitely seen his stuff before then. You saying that, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. If I don't know them personally, I follow basically anyone who makes videos in the endurance world, I'd say.
Mhm.
Sweet.
Nice.
So, switching gears to our final segment, we want to dig a little deeper into some things. So, my first question is if you could tell your high school self one thing, what would it be? Whether it's advice, a mantra, or a way that you want to go about, wish you would have gone about things, like what would you say to him?
I think especially senior year, Chase was really good about being his own person.
Mm.
I so a little background here. I was the only person on my cross country team senior year. We had some other guys on the team, but they weren't always at practice every single day. Some of them worked, some of them had other commitments, other sports. I was the only guy who was fully committed to the team, and we had five guys on the team full time, and then we had a bunch of the soccer kids who would come and run during championship season. So I was really good at being my own person, and that's something I'm so proud of. Was able to show up to practice every single day and work hard, even if not everyone else was. Um, but something I would tell myself, looking at colleges, look somewhere besides in state. I really wanted to stay in state because I wanted to be close to home, and I really liked the idea of just being 2 or 3 hours, even an hour away from home. But I really would have appreciated seeing a little bit more of the country while I'm in college.
No, that's very
Valid.
valid. My next one would be, who do you feel helped you the most in your career so far?
Video or running?
Both.
Life.
Okay. All of it.
Yeah.
Running. I'm gonna have to say there's two people. Well, three people, but two of them are kind of the same person. My two high school coaches that I had my junior and senior year. I had five different coaches through high school, if I'm counting correctly.
Wow.
Uh, one for cross and one for track freshman year, one for cross, one for track sophomore year, and then I had two coaches my junior and senior year. Uh, so I guess that's six. uh, and those two coaches, my junior and senior year, Coach Randy and Coach Zach, um, they taught me how to be a mature runner really early on. They taught me how to be patient. They taught me that I don't need to do everything all at once. They taught me like, time is key. They knew how to train me, and I didn't even realize I was being trained the way I was. I mean, I was running 30 miles a week and I ran a 4:30 mile. Not that a 4:30 mile is by any means impressive in high school these days, but
I
for
think it,
30 miles a week of running, like it
yeah.
was a pretty big deal. I mean, I got fourth place at state, and I didn't realize that the training was really paying off as much as it was. So my coaches knew how to do what they were doing, not only from a physiological but a mental standpoint. So very, very uh, appreciative of what they've done for me. And then outside of that, I'm gonna have to say my granddad was a really pivotal person in my life. He just passed away this past year, and he actually bought me my first pair of dragonflies, and also is the
Oh.
person who got me into photography. So he was in the Navy, served in the Navy, and he bought a film camera whenever he got out of basic training. And he went to, I don't even know how many countries. I mean, at least 20 countries, and took photos on his camera. And I remember like either looking at the photos or hearing the stories of the photos he would take. And like after this was after I'd kind of really gotten into photography, but hearing those stories really made me like invest even more into it. And I saw the importance and the value of capturing like memories and moments and emotions over just, taking a photo here and there of my friends.
Oh yeah, that's
We
awesome.
have a fun home camera.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
sweet.
We have a crappy camera that we just we want it to look like it's old.
It looks kind of
Yeah.
film-esque. It's like there's no
So
point and shoot.
this is actually his camera right here.
Oh my
Whoa,
gosh, wow.
that's
So
sick.
this is the film camera he took over the all over the world with him. So
Mm,
I've never used it, but it's still there.
That's
that's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, no.
Who's your biggest inspiration been? Like if you are
Mm,
like looking at people kind of living the life you see a little bit for yourself, who do you want to emulate?
uh, someone who I don't know, who I look up to, kind of in their lifestyle. Um, Max McNeary, 14 man.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I know him, and we've had plenty of conversations, but I don't know him well enough to like say like I'm his friend or anything. But like he cares so much about the 10-man elite guys, and like that's his family, and he gets to capture those memories every single day. And like he's around that community of runners and athletes who care about the sport, not just about running a fast time. And like that's what I love about running. So that's like at least on the photo video side of things, I really admire like what he's done, especially for the sport and with the sport. I mean, I remember watching 10-minute leap videos sophomore, junior year of high school. And like I have like a grayscale collection T-shirt from 2020. I mean, that was only 5 years ago, but like I have those shirts, I have the hoodies, I have everything
Ron was
because
rocking his Tin Man today.
Yeah,
yes.
our coach.
So like I just the emotions that he's able to portray through photo and video, I admire it so much.
You've mentioned a lot of the creators on social media. Who do we need to follow? Who are your like top three social follows?
Mm. Lele Labs. He's one of the guys who works for On. Crazy good photographer. I love his photos. And I'm gonna give a shout out to all the folks that help out at D3 Glory Days. But one of my boys that I've asked for a lot of advice from and also just kind of communicated with over the last few years is Kyle with Lynchburg. He was on the team. He's no longer on the team, but he still captures all types of footage and photos of those guys and those ladies up there. And I really admire his work. His style is really refined. So definitely a top D3 Glory Days content guy up there too.
That's nice.
Gotcha. What's a big quote that you live by?
So that was one of the questions I've been thinking about the most after y'all sent it over to me.
Yeah.
And something I've been telling a lot of my team this. We have one freshman on the team who cares a lot about running and isn't the most passionate about school. A lot of that comes from just because he wants to be a good runner. And I think that's great. And something from talking to him that I have been telling myself is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So you have to give everything your all, or else you won't give anything your all. I think you can do like say I wanted to go all in on photo video. That's great. But if I'm also not putting the same amount of effort into my school, then what's the point? Because I'm not going to get the same, reward or same effort or same output from getting a good grade as creating an amazing set of photos. I want both. So the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
I
And
know.
at the end of the day, a part of that is like if you are picking and choosing where you put your effort, I don't think you're fully putting 100% of your effort into everything. You know, if you feel like you didn't put all your effort into a school project, then what are you supposed to know? Like, how are you supposed to know what it feels like to put everything into it?
Valid. There's a like a little parable story that I had a coach in my past tell us once as a team, and he was basically like talking about school and running, and I'd said like if you squeeze an orange, you're gonna get orange juice. That's just what it is. It's an orange, it gives you orange juice. If you squeeze a lemon, it's gonna give you lemon juice. You're not gonna squeeze an orange and get lemon juice. You're not gonna squeeze a lemon and get orange juice.
Yeah,
Like you're gonna get the same thing, the same quality out of it every time. So like the work effort that you put into like your running should be you should practice putting good efforts into everything you do and practice success in everything you do. It goes back to that quote, make excellence a habit,
yeah,
not like and every now and then make it a habit so that everything you do, you're always putting out the sweet orange juice. Hopefully
exactly.
that makes sense.
No, it does. And I've really lived by that myself just because, I have so many things that I want to be good at. I want to be good at running. And now that I'm healthy, I have the chance to be good at running. I really want to be good at photo and video. And that right now I have the platform and I'm growing the audience and I'm growing like my craft and my skills to be really good at photo and video. And then I also have to think about being a great student because I want to get good grades. I want to get into my doctorate's programs. I want to do big things after I get out of my undergrad. And these are three big things, let alone my social life, my family life, anything else. Like I have to put the same amount of effort into everything to get the results I want.
One final question. If you have a weekend with zero responsibilities, what are you doing?
Mm, zero responsibilities. Is this Friday to Sunday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just do whatever you want.
All
Nobody.
right. I'm gonna go to Red River Gorge in Kentucky and go for a 3-day trip. We're gonna go camping, cook steak and eggs for breakfast, bacon and eggs for breakfast. We're gonna have some oatmeal, some
Good.
fresh fruit. We're gonna go to Daniel Boone Coffee Shop we're gonna hit up a little trail run up there. It's absolutely
We need to
gorgeous.
do this with
I
you.
was gonna say, is this him
Are you
inviting
catering
us?
us?
Inviting us on a camping trip.
You know, we might be able to make that happen. I mean, it's an absolutely gorgeous place to be. And one of my best friends, she goes trail running there all the time. So we might have to make that happen sometime soon. That's my ideal weekend. We spend a weekend in the gorge, go trail running, eat all the good food, spend time in nature, take photos, of course, and then go to Danny Boone Coffee Shop.
Dude, that would be so, dude,
We'll take it.
That'd be so
We'll
much
take
fun.
it.
That's awesome. I love that.
Alrighty. Is there anything else you would like to share with the people of the pod? Any further yaps?
So I don't think I have any further yaps, but I would love to give a shout out to my next door neighbor, Megan Owens. She's my next door neighbor. She's our coach's daughter. She is one of the best runners I know. She's a huge fan of you all, and she,
Like good too.
yeah. So she deserves a shout out, as well as her boyfriend Mitch. Yes,
Well,
Megan Owens on Strava and Mitch
Oh,
Meyer on Strava.
Another Mitch getting a shout out on Strava.
we'll try our best to tag them if you can show us the way. So
For sure.
we'll collaborate on that.
100%.
But yeah.
Right. Well, thanks for being on the pod. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you all for asking me to join. This has been awesome.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to our episode with Chase Swegger. Next week, we should be back on our regular scheduled episode programming. Noah, any final yaps for the crew?
All I gotta say is one thing, and we heard it in church this morning. Gosh, my voice is so bad. Our pastor said success only comes before work in the dictionary.
We love to hear it. Everybody, make that your thought of the week. All right, signing off.